Many people have already installed on-grid solar systems just to get the government subsidy, and many others are still planning to do the same thinking. We're getting a good subsidy, so let's go for an on-grid system. But remember, just like every system has benefits, an on-grid system also has some drawbacks. Right now, there are three main types of solar systems available in the market: on-grid, off-grid, and hybrid. Each of these works in a completely different way. In fact, a hybrid system can work like both on-grid and off-grid systems. Let's understand what exactly an on-grid system is, how it works, and whether it's really beneficial for you. As the name suggests, on-grid means it works only when the grid is available. If there is no grid supply, the system will simply not work. So, if you live in an area where there are frequent power cuts, even just 2 hours a day, you should avoid installing an on-grid system. During those power cuts, your solar panels will stop working and you won't get any electricity. Now, let's talk about how it works. It's actually very simple. The system mainly has two components: solar panels and an inverter. These two work together with your grid power. The inverter mixes the power coming from the solar panels and the grid to run the load of your house. If your home load is low, the extra power generated from solar can even be exported back to the grid, which you can use later. So basically, the main purpose of an on-grid system is to reduce your electricity bill. That's the only benefit. Since this system doesn't use batteries, you also save the battery cost, which can be quite high, especially for bigger setups. For example, if you install a 5 kilowatt system, it usually needs around 4 batteries. That alone can cost you about $50,000, and you'll have to replace those batteries every 3 to 5 years. If you go for lithium batteries, they can last around 10 to 12 years, but still, there's always a cost involved. That's why many people prefer the on-grid system, because it works without batteries. However, as I mentioned earlier, it won't work without grid power. So if your area faces power cuts, then just for the sake of subsidy, don't go for it. You'll only end up wasting your money. Now, let's talk about the off-grid system. You can install it anywhere, even where there is no grid connection at all. It's specially designed for remote areas where grid supply is not available or power cuts are very frequent. An off-grid system always includes batteries. So even when there's no sunlight or grid power, your home appliances can still run on battery or solar power. Its working is also quite simple. If it's connected to the grid, your load can run from solar, grid, or battery depending on the condition. Many inverters have intelligent modes where they automatically mix solar and grid power or solar and battery power to run your house load efficiently. You get a good amount of battery backup, and it also helps to reduce your electricity bills. However, unlike on-grid systems, you cannot export power back to the grid, so your bill savings are not as high. Now comes the hybrid system, which gives you the best of both worlds. It has the grid export feature of the on-grid system and the battery backup feature of the off-grid system. That's why hybrid systems are a bit more expensive. Hybrid inverters themselves cost more, though some brands offer affordable ones. But remember, the price depends on the quality, brand, and warranty of the inverter. For example, DAE currently offers one of the best hybrid inverters in the market. You can also find good options from UTL and MTech, among others. The best part is, you can install a hybrid system anywhere. Even if you don't have a grid connection right now, you can still use it like an off-grid setup, and later, when you get electricity, you can easily enable net metering. I personally use a hybrid inverter in off-grid mode. I rarely use grid power. In fact, most of the time, I don't use it at all. My setup includes about 5 kilowatts of solar panels and a 10 kilowatt battery bank. So my entire day load runs directly on solar. Since my batteries get fully charged from solar power, I don't need the grid at all. I've even switched off the grid connection most of the time. Only on cloudy or rainy days when sunlight isn't enough, I use the grid. Otherwise, all my load runs purely on solar. In the future, once I enable net metering, my system will become a fully optimized hybrid system. So now you must have a clear idea of whether installing an on-grid, off-grid, or hybrid solar system is right for you. If you still have any doubts about these 3 types, feel free to ask your questions in the comment box, and I'll try to explain them again in detail. Now, let's talk about pricing. The on-grid system costs around 60,000 per kilowatt, which means a 1 kilowatt system costs 60,000 and a 3 kilowatt system costs about 180,000. The off-grid system costs around 70,000 per kilowatt, and the hybrid system costs roughly 80,000 per kilowatt. So if you install a 3 kilowatt hybrid system with the latest technology inverter, it will cost around 2.3 to 2.4 lakh. The total cost depends on your budget and the brand you choose. If you want to cut costs, you can go for a more affordable hybrid inverter. For example, Cellchronic offers a double battery inverter for around 65,000. If you add 2 lead acid batteries, they'll cost about 25,000. So your inverter and battery setup will cost roughly 90,000. Then for a 3 kilowatt solar panel set, you'll spend around 60,000. So together you can get all 3 main components for about 1.5 lakh. Besides that, you'll have an extra expense of around 20,000 to 25,000 for installation, wiring, structure, and accessories. So overall, you can set up a complete 3 kilowatt hybrid system for under 2 lakh. This way, by customizing your setup smartly, you can save a lot of money. And if you choose the right brand and system, you'll get both good performance and long-term savings. So I hope now all your doubts are cleared about what on-grid, off-grid, and hybrid solar systems are, how they work, and how much they cost. If you still have any questions or suggestions, please write them in the comment section below. If you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon so you can keep getting updates on our future videos. Thank you for watching.